For today, you're going to get some enrichment on equations. Like today in class, you had to set up an equation. Today in intervention, you're going to get practice on how to solve them when they come up. So here is the basic type of equation. If I had x plus 3 equals 10, you can probably look at that and tell what the answer is. What would I add to 3 to get a 10? 7 is right. But in case you can't look at the problem and know what the work is to get it, here's what you do. Whatever is with the x, such as plus 3, you do the opposite of that on the other side, minus 3. So 10 minus 3 is 7, and that's why the answer is 7. What about this one? X minus 6 equals 11. What would I take 6 away from to get 11? It would be how much?
17.
17 is right. The answer is 17, but in case you couldn't look at that and tell what it was, see the minus 6 that's with the x? You move it to the other side and make it plus 6. You do the opposite. So 11 plus 6 is 17. That would get you the answer also. What if it were something like this? What would I take 2 away from to end up with a negative 1? Positive 1, she says, and she is right. But if you can't tell that by looking at the problem, then here's where you have to know how to do the work. You keep the x on the left, the number that's on the right stays there, but this, instead of being minus 2 on the right, becomes what? Plus 2. You do the opposite. So negative 1 plus 2 is a 1. What if it were this? X minus 5 equals a negative 3. Can you tell what the answer would be without doing the work? She says positive 2, and she's right. But the way you get that is you leave the x on the left, the 3 on the right, and you move this over and make it plus 5. You do the opposite. So 3 plus negative 3. Now I thought that looked kind of strange. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Try this one, bring it up to me. Alright, so for this one, the answer was 12, but to get that, you must do 16 minus 4, which is 12. Try this one and show me the answer. The answer was 1, but to get that, you must do negative 3 plus 4, the opposite of this. Try this one. You're going to keep your x on the left and your negative 4 on the right, but you do the opposite of this, which is plus 2. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Here's one more just like that. Everybody had that one right, and the answer is negative 4. The work is negative 10 plus 6. Now we're going to add one more step to this. 2x plus 1 equals 5. Can you figure out the answer without having to do any work? What would I multiply by 2 and then add 1 to it to get 5? 2 is right. The answer is 2, but here's how you get it. Keep the 2x on the left and the 5 on the right. Move this over and do the opposite. 5 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 1 is 4, and then you divide the right side by the number that is with the x. That's how you come up with it. Here's another one just like that. 3x plus 1 equals 10. What do I move to the right and change? Yeah, this 1 will go over and become minus 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. Divide 9 by 3, and you get an answer of 3. If you don't think you have the right answer, you can check it out by putting this right here. What's 3 times 3? Plus 1. 10, so it works out. Here's one more example. How about 3x plus 5 equals 20? What goes to the right side and changes? Yeah, the plus 5. What does it become over here? Minus 5. 20 minus 5 is what? 15. And what do I divide?
15 by 3.
Yeah, and the answer is what? 5, yes. Bring this one up to me. Step 1 on this is you must move this over to the right side and make it minus. So you have 4x equals 23 minus 7. What is 23 minus 7? 16. What do I do next?
16 divided by 4.
16 divided by 4, and the answer is 4. What should I move to the right side and change?
Minus 10.
Yeah, instead of subtracting 10, I'm going to add 10 on the right side. So what is 15 plus 10? 25. And what do I do? Divide 25 by 5, and you get an answer of 5. Yes. If you had 6x equals 24, then you would divide to get an answer of 4. But when you have something inserted in there between the x term and the equal sign, then you have to do the opposite on the other side. Here's an example, and this one has one additional tiny step to it. Negative 2x minus 4 equals 10. The steps are still the same. What do I do first?
Negative 2x equals 10 minus 32.
You would add the 4, but actually Yantis is right. If you subtract a negative 4, it's the same as doing what? A double negative is what? Positive, so he would still be right. He would have extra signs to mess with, which is why I don't do it that way. But you can do it that way if you get the right answer. So we move this over, and we have a plus 4. So what's 10 plus 4? 14. What do I do next?
Divide by negative 2.
Yeah, 14 divided by negative 2. And what is that?
It is 0.14.
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Oh, I tried to do negative 2 first.
Martin, you need help?
He's so confused.
Where'd we lose you at?
I said you probably lost him at the circle.
All right. See this here?
Yeah.
Whatever doesn't have an X with it, you've got to move it over to the other side. And if it's a minus 1 here, you have to do the opposite on the other side, which is plus 1. So negative 4 plus 1 is where we get this negative 3. Whatever this is, you move it over and do the opposite. So it's plus 1. Simplify here to get a negative 3. And then you divide this by this. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. All right. You must move this to the right side and make it minus 10.
That's right.
If you added it, you had a positive 4, and when you divided, your answer was negative 1. So that's why you would have had that. But it should be minus 10. Negative 6 minus 10 is what? Negative 16, yes. So negative 16 divided by negative 4 is a positive 4. Did you move that 19 over to the right side and make it minus 19?
Yeah.
Did you come up with a negative 49?
Yeah.
Did you divide negative 49 by negative 7?
No, because I didn't bring the negative down to 7.
Ah, we found it. So it should have been a positive 7. This will be an example, and this is kind of like the homework tonight on some of the problems. X plus 3x plus 4x equals 64. What do you think we have to do first before we do anything else?
Add up all the x's.
Add up all the x's, that's right. How many x's do I have up there?
3. No, you got 7, 8, 9, 8 x's.
8 x's, she is right.
Oh, because you get.
4, 7.
Okay.
Oh, we add the numbers.
Yeah, remember that's a 1x. So we have 1x plus 3x is 4x. 4x plus 4x is 8x. Now what do I need to do to solve it?
Divide
Divide by 8.
Divide by 8.
I think.
Which would be
8.
See, you have like
8.
Answer is 8.
I
Yes.
knew that without looking.
5x plus x plus 3x equals 72. What should I do first? Add up the x's.
9, which is 9, there's 9 x's.
9 x's. Divide by 9. Answer is 8.
Wait, where do you get the
That is backwards. That's a 9 divided by 6.
The most common mistake is not counting this x. There's a 1 next to that, you just don't write it. Everybody had the right answer. It should be 7x equals 84, and you divide 84 by 7 to come up with 12. Oh, well, we had the right answer. I've just done the completely wrong work.
Probably because they're all in there talking and they don't shut up.
Yeah, it should have been 12x equals 84, and then when you divide by 12, you come up with 7. Yes, that's right.
The 7 and the 12.
On this type of problem, you have an x on both sides. So 8x plus 12 equals 6x minus 8. What you do in a case where you have x's on the both sides is to remember the following. You want x's on the left side, and you want constants, which are numbers with no variable, on the right side. If any of these are out of place, you have to move them where they belong. So remember, we want x's on the left and just numbers on the right. Is there anything on the left side here that's already an x that doesn't need to move? 8x. Is there another x somewhere else in the equation?
Yes, 6x.
6x is right. This 6x does not belong there. It must go over to the left side right here. When you move across the equal sign, what do you do to it? You change the symbol or the sign or the operation. So instead, what sign is in front of this 6x? Not times. Not minus.
Is it add?
Yeah, is it positive or negative?
Oh,
Positive,
I
yeah.
thought that's
So when you move it to the other side, when you move this over, it becomes minus 6x. On the right side, what already belongs over here?
8.
What kind of 8? Yeah, you have to use the sign in front of it, so it is negative 8. But what must go over there with it? The 12, yes, and it becomes what? Negative 8, not plus 12, minus 12, yes. Once you make it to that spot, you're going to do 8x minus 6x. What is 8x minus 6x? 2x. And what's negative 8 minus 12? Negative 20. So I divide negative 20 by 2 and get an answer of what? Negative 10. Another example, this one is 5x plus 12 equals x plus 4. Remember, we need x's on the left and numbers only on the right. What is on the left that stays there? 5x. And what must go over there with it? This x, but this is a positive or a negative x? It's a positive, so what do I do on the other side? You can change it to negative, which will be the same thing as subtraction. What's on the right side that stays there? And what moves over with it? And what happens to it? You subtract it instead of adding. What is 5x minus 1x? 4x. And what is 4 minus 12? Negative 8. So divide negative 8 by 4, and what's the answer? Negative 2. You must leave this 7x on the left-hand side, and this must go over there with it. When it crosses the equal sign here, it changes to minus 4x. On the right, the 3 stays, but this must go over with it and change signs to minus 15. 7x minus 4x is 3x, and 3 minus 15 is a negative 12. So divide negative 12 by 3 and come up with a negative 4. Here's another one. Everybody had the right answer on that, but the work should be 6x plus x equals 21 minus 7, which is 7x equals 14. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Try this one. You'll notice here on the left-hand side that this negative x stays where it's at. It does not move. So put that down. But this must go over there with it. It's a negative 2x here. When it crosses the equal sign, it's going to become plus 2x. Then on the right-hand side, this 8 must stay there. And then we're going to have this 4. The plus 4 must go over the equal sign to the right side and become minus 4. What's a negative 1x plus 2x? What's negative 1 plus 2? Just 1, but you don't have to write the 1. It's just 1x. So 8 minus 4 is 4, and there's no division to do. You should have negative 5x staying on the left, but this must move over and become plus 3x. This stays on the right. This moves over and becomes minus 10. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2, and 20 minus 10 is 10. So 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5.